I'm with Dr. Risa Levitt, the Executive Director at the Bible Lands Museum here in Jerusalem. Now, Risa, first of all, what is the Bible Lands Museum?
The Bible Lands Museum Jerusalem is a museum based on the private collection of somebody named Dr. Eli Borofsky. Eli brought his collection to Israel in the 80s and founded this museum. He was mostly interested in archaeology from all kinds of countries neighboring Israel or mentioned in the Bible, such as Egypt, Mesopotamia, Rome, Greece, Persia, etc. And that's the bulk of our collection is archaeology from the ancient Near East.
Now, you've recently opened an exhibition called Splinter from the Storm. What is that?
Splinter from the Storm is a little bit unexpected for us. It's an exhibition of contemporary art. It's mostly art that was created around the time of October 7th or immediately afterwards by a group of artists from Sam Spiegel Studios in Jerusalem.
And who are some of the artists who have actually participated in this artwork?
So we feature the work of over 20 artists. The show was curated by Noah Arad Yairi, and it was produced by Yael, Boverman, Attas. There are about 20 plus artists at the Sam Spiegel Studios, some of them very well known, some of them this is the first time they're exhibiting outside of the gallery itself. And we started a partnership with them very soon after the war broke out, where they brought their talents and creativity over to the museum, and we ran all kinds of special programs for evacuated families from the north and from the south for free. Sort of like art and healing together. And from that grew this idea to bring their work into our museum and have contemporary art stand next to, I guess, what you would call ancient art, also depicting war and violence. And I think it creates a very interesting dialogue.
You actually took some of the most important pieces away and hid them away. What do you do with them? Where do they go?
So, look, I'm new to Israel, so this is all new for me. But, the minute we understood that there would be war, we went into museum wartime protocol, wherein we evaluate our collection and go through the pieces that are most valuable, irreplaceable, extremely fragile, on loan from other people, and remove them from the permanent gallery and then put them in our safe for safekeeping. That meant that we had a lot of empty space in the gallery, and that was sort of the most logical place to put these works.
So how many pieces do you have on display?
38 pieces, I believe, we have on display. Some artists have several pieces, and some just have one or...
So as you go through the museum, have you got to find these specific pieces that are spread around the museum because you've got more space, is it?
Well, we wanted it to be a little bit of a shock, let's say, where we didn't want people to understand where exactly they would find contemporary pieces. So there's no map, and you just wander through the permanent gallery and stumble upon these pieces as they are, so to speak. Some of them are placed very intentionally in galleries where they seem to speak to the other objects, some of them a little less so, but the experience is a little bit disconcerting and somewhat shocking, and I think that speaks to everything that we've experienced over the last 4 months, that it's made us stop in our tracks, it's disconcerting, and it's shocking, and that's what we wanted to convey, I think, in this show.
So we're also joined here by artistic director Yael, Boverman, Attas. You have some artist work in the display. Can you tell us what you've got there?
Yes, hi. The stuff that I present is some landscape paintings. They're all very intense and I would say expressive expression of the feeling that I had during the war, which was the loss of the ground. Like, it was really disastrous. The feeling of the open fields that we saw on TV the whole time, that didn't feel safe anymore, that bombs were like coming down the sky like stars. And it was very disturbing. And the deep feeling that you need to connect to the earth, that you need to stabilize yourself again, that what moved me. And I think you can see that the paintings made of graphite and water, they're very quick, they're very intense. The thing is, when I started off trying to react to the war, what it's doing, how can I express what I feel? The first paintings were so shocking to myself that I had to erase them. It was like mother and son trying to hide in the bushes, stuff like that. Again, very biblical if you think about Moses, but I could not even face it myself when I saw them, and I just washed them off the surface. And I tried to do something more general, to take it a little bit further from my personal view as a mother, as a woman, as an artist, just take it a little bit further away. So the landscape, that's something that you can relate to, because it's everybody's landscape. And I think I would like to talk about a work of one of the artists here that is also done during the war, which is the portrait of the Scream. Do you remember seeing it? Near the Mummy Fayoum portraits. Again, this is a woman that both her sons were serving in the combat for 3 months. And when you look at the painting, you can immediately see what she felt like. She was inspired by, Goya's black paintings and so on, but this is what now, when you come to the museum and you see it next to the Fayoum portraits, it's a very strong and spiritual experience.
So this is actually someone that you knew or got to know and done a painting based on her?
No, that's not my painting. I'm talking about Karen Greenblatt's painting. My painting, yes, when I started off doing more like images of people, of mothers and children, it was the people who were kidnapped, the Bibas family, with the 2 twins that nobody could take out of their heads. But again, for me, it was too strong, and I did not erase it. But when I spoke to Karen, when she brought her work, and she said, I never thought I'll show this piece, because it was, again, so much from my stomach. So it's quite stunning that all these emotions are coming up and are connected to our history in a very simple and direct way. We didn't have to, in many places, we didn't have to look for it. It was just there.
So it's been very painful to do this.
It's painful to live here now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I think 2 words come to my mind when I think of the exhibition. The first is, I think it's the word now. We want everything to happen now. We want the refugees back now. We want the war to end now. We want to express what we feel now. We want the show to be on now, because maybe there is not going to be a tomorrow. There is a sense of immediacy in everything we do. And I think you now start, Risa was one of the first, I think you can now start seeing more exhibitions of artists reacting to the war, but it's all coming out. It's very immediate, and I think the exhibition really shows how we all feel now. I don't know how it would look even in a month, it's, my state of mind had changed already. Hopefully we'll look back and think, it's over. Thank God. And the other thing I was thinking about this exhibition is the other word that came to my mind was connect. That we had to, as artists, we had to connect to what we feel and bring it out. And everybody wanted to participate. Like in no time, we put up the initial exhibition like in 2 weeks. Everything is now, and everybody wants to connect. So it's connecting to your feelings, but also to what's happening around you, which is not obvious. A lot of painters usually, or artists, they just deal with their own stuff, and suddenly everybody is reacting to what's happening. It's connecting everybody. And the feeling when I first came here and I saw all the work laid around, displayed already, it was a spiritual feeling. And this spiritual feeling came from the idea that, the artists that did the stuff that is displayed in the museum like thousands of years ago, they felt the same. And the fact that it's not a classic, it's all randomly. The stuff in the museum, whatever survived, was not kept in a safe to survive and to be kept for the next generation, right? By accident. Okay, so there is no message from the past that they wanted to pass on to us. But it just survived, a pot or a painting or whatever it is. And the stuff that we put here, I cannot sign to you that this is the best stuff of everybody that they did, the best art, the highest. It's what we did at the moment. That's what came here. Will it survive the years or not?
When you saw the news about what was happening on October the 7th, did you know that you had to do something?
The first 3 days of the war, total paralyzed. But then I had a very strong urge of, the survival. I tried to do something that is connected to what I do. And I connected with other artists in our studios. And we started offering, in 3 days, we started a project of doing art workshops for evacuees, because they were flooding to Jerusalem by thousands. And the municipality it took them a long time to organize it. And we, as a private sector, we can do things very quickly. And half of the people the artists that are showing in the exhibition were also participated in giving these workshops for the evacuees. We hosted 500 people in the first month.
Wow.
With all voluntarily. We had people coming over from 3 days before they left their home with bodies in the backyard. They brought nothing with them. They came completely shocked and lost and did art. And we actually, we sunk them with art. And when you feel the power of art and how it can heal and how people need it, So the exhibition was almost the obvious step when we stopped and we saw that, this is not needed as much as it was in the beginning. We did feel, everybody felt that they want to bring out, the product of what they did in their studio, which was very moving.
How has the war changed the museum?
Oh gosh. The museum has, for me anyway, completely changed. I told you that we had discussions at first about what our role was. And there were some people on the staff who really thought that we just needed to put everything away, keep it safe, and close our doors. And that just seemed to me the wrong thing to do. Yes, of course, we had to put everything away and keep it safe. But we have people to serve. We have a community to serve. And we opened our doors very quickly and we changed course. We ran programs here. We opened for free. We were approached by the Ministry of Education to provide space for an impromptu school for special needs kids who were evacuated. We did all kinds of things that you would never expect Museum of Archaeology in Jerusalem to do. And I think it was really important for us to be a place of life, not just dead objects, to serve the community, to be a place of conversation and of learning and of healing, and to be a vehicle for change. And I think that's a lot about what this exhibit is all about. And I said earlier, maybe I'm naive in thinking that by showing how much history repeats itself, that maybe we can break the cycle. But that is my hope. Maybe this is a small drop in the bucket.
Does it give you a feeling of, well, everyone's doing something, so this is something that we can do as well?
Yes and no. I think this is what we have to do. This is what makes the most sense. And as I said when the exhibition opened, it's probably the most important thing I've done in my museum career, and I hope I never have to do it again.
And you're just new here as well. How did you get to hear about what happened on October the 7th?
Well, I was on the phone at 6:30 in the morning with some friends from Canada, and my application on my phone started going off warning me of a missile hit on Jerusalem. So that was the first indication that something was going on. And then, like everyone else, in bits and pieces from phone calls and Twitter and, whatever was on the news, which at first really wasn't very much. And even the next day, on October 8th, I had meetings scheduled as usual. And I think the full extent of things didn't really become clear to us for several days. And like Yael said, at first we were all paralyzed. And then it became clear that something had to be done. And that's the beginning of our partnership, was Yael having artists and me having space, and watching the two sort of come together. And I think the exhibition is a result of that very much.
And how did you get to hear about this terrible terrorist attack?
Again, it was 6:30 in the morning where we got news alert, but it sounds so unreal. We had to look in other medias to check, and everything was like the news didn't come as much from the media, but from people from the kibbutzim that were shut in their safe rooms, screaming for help. All the friends, people just posted alerts and like cry for help in Facebook. And it all seemed so unreal because, we were brought up that, the IDF is the strongest army in the world. And how come it was not taken care of in like half an hour or 2 hours or 6 hours or a day? And it took a few days. Some people stayed in their safe room for 24 hours. And we had my daughter who was staying with us, her friend from class, all the WhatsApp groups. He was saying, please help us find somebody to help us. All the students' Facebook, WhatsApp groups and the Facebook, you see the most unbelievable posts of people saying, I love you, I'm saying goodbye, I hear them outside the door, I hear the shooting, I'm thankful for everything I had. And this is like the curator of the Be'eri gallery that survived eventually. And I didn't even know her, but her friends were posting her posts. And then she was speaking, and it's so, you got the news from the ground, not from, even the news were speaking to people in their safe rooms or in the bushes hiding from the Hamas. And they were crying out to the reporters live. It's a surreal situation. It's a big shock. Never expected anything like that. I thought that a disaster happens once in a generation, We had the Holocaust and, we thought this is over. Nothing like that would happen. And now we're experiencing, I don't want to compare it to the Holocaust, but it's a shocking and traumatic experience with horrors happening.
What can people see in this new exhibition?
Well, you see the museum collection and you see 20 different voices of contemporary artists expressing their pain and their shock and their horror alongside ancient artifacts that in some ways express the same thing. And it's difficult and it's moving and it's emotional and it's very powerful.
And how long does the exhibition run for?
It'll run until the end of April.
Okay, what's your website for people who'd like to know more?
The website is www.blmj.org.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.